In my last 2 videos, I showed a lot about my intrigue systems I developed for my space exploration game. Now, I think it's a good time to take a break from the wonders of space and improve more on the small and personal details down the surface. So, for today I will show how I improved the character of my game. Games are my preferred way to express art. I simply can't pull away the incredible possibilities of games to tell stories and change the perspectives of the person playing. Art can be everywhere in a game. Every little detail can be enhanced to invoke a feeling to the player. With that in mind, I used my knowledge in game art direction to improve the character model controls and animations. The character is the main focus of most games. With him, the player can get immersed in the world and interact with everything around. So, it's really important to nail the aspects of the character that we are going to control. A good character design seems natural and can pass almost unnoticed. So, the first thing to improve in my character was the model. I actually liked the old model, but I think there are a lot of things to improve. I still want to keep the jarhead. This is the main aspect of the character. But I think that adding arms and showing more of the body will communicate a lot better to the player what the character is feeling. With that in mind, I start modeling the character, showing more of the features of his body, and adding arms to improve the animations. Another important feature is the cape of the character. I really like long capes, but I made a shorter one to make less space and show more of the character movement. During this new modeling, I updated my Blender. I discovered that I was versions away from the current version, so I used a lot of new tools. For example, the normal of my models were calculated using the older versions. So to make the edges smoother, I had to add more vertices. Now, in the recent versions, normals have a better calculation and get much prettier and more optimized. The next step was the rigging and animation. The thing is that I'm awful at this. So for now, I choose to use Miximo to make my character. I didn't want to use Miximo animations because I thought that they made any game look like an asset flip with generic animations. That is still true if the developer doesn't convey them correctly, but if you vary them enough and think how to use them, your character can express a lot of personality and be unique. So, the first step was to use Miximo's site to rig my character and export to Unity. Thanks to that, my character was fully rigged and with all the functions necessary to animate in Unity engine. Before I worked on the animations itself, I invested a lot of time to make the new character feel a part of the world and express to the player the environment around him. For that, I used the inverse kinematics, or IK system for short. The IK system allows procedural animations to blend with other movements. With this, I worked for days in a foot placement system to make the character align with the surface. After that, I started to research various animations and handpick what I thought was in alignment with the character design. This process took some time, but at the end, I had a ton of options to animate my character. I added the basic idle, walk and run animations. These smoothly transition between one another. So, depending on the input of the controller, the character can look slow or fast. This was a good improvement, but I kept adding more small details to give the personality to the movement. For example, when the character is in a slope or unstable surface, he will walk in a clumsy way. Also, I used a lot of animations for the jump. We often think that jumping games is a simple task to achieve, but actually it involves a lot of conditions. For my game, I used the 6 animations for the jump. The character has animations for a lot of conditions. This gives a more natural feeling for the movement of the character. I took great inspirations from the Studio Ghibli movies and the game Ico. The character is purposely clumsy to resemble a childish personality. These multiple movement conditions require a good code structure, so I needed to remake a lot of my code to improve the scalability of the movement system. For this, I coded a finite state machine. This basically structures the player coding multiple scripts for each player's condition, for example, moving, jumping, or falling. This makes the code much more faster and easier to read and add features. Before moving on, I encountered an annoying realization: stairs. I researched a lot about stairs in video games, and they actually are quite a headache to add in games. In my project, the physics of going up and down stairs was very complicated to deal with because the player got stuck in the steps. The most common approach in games to solve this problem is to detect when the character walks into a step and teleport them to the top. This makes the movement in the stairs smoothly without getting stuck in the steps. I used this approach and it worked perfectly. After all these implementations, I had a way better character design. To take it in perspective, the initial character had 4 animations, and now have 12 animations. I'm satisfied with the final result for the animations and control of the character. Of course, it needs some polish, and this will be done in the future. This is it for this devlog. In the future, I will work on the spaceship design and the inventory of the player, so expect to see something about this in the next videos. Also, soon my university will be back and my time developing this game will be way shorter. Of course, I will still develop, but in a small pace. Thanks for watching and goodbye.